Thank you so much. And thanks everyone who are joining this particular session. I want to say first big thanks to the organizers who are actually helping in this huge 2 days session. I mean, I know I've conducted a lot of sessions. 2 days thing is a big thing. So a big round of applause to all the organizers who are doing such a amazing work, right? So, guys, again, just want to let you know that there's quiz which you can win, and this is the QR code. I think I'll be showing as well later on. A quick thing I want to share with you that my demos are bit taxing. A lot of things I'll be covering. So if you don't have any questions, let's put towards the end. I will answer all the things, right? So I have a lot of things to show you. I want to give everything, all the things for you so that you can see in real world, right? So somebody asked a question yesterday, I mean in the first session about SQL Server. Let me share something with you guys. I do a lot of demos for a lot of organizations, and there's something called as a Power Apps, a developer plan, which is right, I put in the chat box. And this is very, very useful. Why useful? Because you don't need any kind of rely on any connector. All connectors are baked in. So one thing which somebody asked about the SQL Server, so you can have full access to all your third-party applications, whether it's a SAP or Azure SQL Server or any, for that matter, anything. So you have full access to your premium connectors. Now, what the last session somebody mentioned about the RPA. RPA unfortunately is not there. So you have to go for a trial and then you can try how it works. I also do some sessions for RPA, but just want to make the context here that if you want to try something from your own as a POC, you can just go for this developer plan, which I put in the chat box, and try all your third parties. You can't go for AI Builder, which is paid. You have 30-day trial, and RPA, which is paid. So you have 30-day trials. So I just want to share that at least you can have a POC on that. Okay, so let me work on myself, right? So yep. So questions. And again, you have more questions. You have high chance to win, right? Okay. So something about me. My name is Aro, based in Singapore. I'm a technical consultant and one of the Microsoft partner called Insight. I'm a Microsoft MVP and MCT. Experience in Office 365, SharePoint Online, and data. Right. I do a lot of community events, and you can contact me on the Twitter or my blog. I update my blog very regularly. Okay. So one thing I want to share with you that what I'm sharing with you is real world. I have experience with a lot of customers. I have faced some issues as well. So all the things that I'm showing you are real world. Okay, things are which are from the demos and all, everything can be few of the things which I have learned from different customers, different users. So thing happen. So first thing, use case. What use case we work on, and what are the worst case scenario in terms of the user experience. I've seen many Power Apps for different users and their and their UI. It's really not a very good experience, right? And then we work on the how we can make solution that your users make happy, right? So you as an end user, you as a developer, you have to always think that it's not you, it's also the entire organization who's using your app. Okay, so not maybe person who have a really good experience in coding and all he can do, but what about the normal people, right, who have a zero coding experience, right? They don't know. So your app must be really useful and have a good user experience, and should not have any kind of errors. Okay, and some tip and tricks which I used for my customers and my clients. So it's very, very useful. And again, towards the demo, I will show around 3 different use case scenarios, how we can use it. Okay, so that is the gist of my demos and my things for Power Apps. Okay, the first thing I just want to tell you, I have really a lot of things I've done with a lot of customers. Many people don't do the error handling, okay? And I mentioned to you that not all the people are tech savvy. So when we do any kind of error, I think we have to do the error handling directly on your Power Apps. And whether data you are putting, whether it's a Microsoft Dataverse or SharePoint, you have to handle it. Maybe you have some kind of compulsory fields which user has to enter, and you get an error, and then user have no idea how to handle this error, right? So it's very important to have a graciously shown the end user what error it is, because what happens again from the experience that your errors are not very friendly. So you have to make a friendly user interface. So this gives you a better user experience. So if you have a lot of error codes in that, so nobody will take your app, right? I said, okay, it's a trash app. I use my Word, okay? And third one is your user adoption. If the user are not taking your apps, obviously it's a bad thing, right? So that is the thing which we work on this in few of the demos, so that you can get a better user experience. Somebody say something, I guess. Okay, I stop it. No worries. Okay, so first thing, this is the thing. This is my real scenario. One of the customer mentioned that their publish app, they're getting error and they don't know how to handle it. Okay. And then I check and then found, okay, this is the error which no normal user able to know, right? Even me as a developer, take some time to understand, right? So I'll give you what has happened in this example. So in this particular demo, I just go for this in one of the Power Apps. Okay, I'm not doing anything. This is the thing which one of my customers shared. He mentioned that he's not able to get the manager's name, right? It was working fine previously, but now manager name is not shown up. So I found now this app is for the end user. It's a published app. Published app means it's all the people in the organization can view it, okay? And the makers, the people who made the apps, they don't have access to that. So if I'm the developer, I will see that error. You see, I see the error, and the error means that that no resource found. Okay, and also if I go here, also I get an error. Okay, it's nothing about the user or the developer. It's about the user experience. We have to meet the expectation from the end users. If you have error handling, how you handle it. So this is the one. It's a use case which I found from one of my customers. Okay, so use case was the manager could not. The user couldn't find the manager. The reason being they remove from Exchange the organization chart. Okay, and they remove some other person, and it took 2-3 days. So it was giving error. So how we work on that, how we can solve it. Okay. So one thing which I am very focused on that is that it's very important to have a design. Your UI design should be good, right? And it should be user friendly, because I mentioned to you in my slides that not everyone knows the technical stuff, right? So it should be user friendly. It should have a great design. It's not compulsory, but it's a good design. And the most important thing which I've seen in my experience with my customers, that you must have a UX design, right? If the user example of 1,000 users use your app for employee information, and you're getting this error, will anyone use this app later after second time? Nobody will use it. So it's very important to use a better user experience, so that your organization have a better user adaptability, right? And then user research, very important. When you make a design of any Power App, or for better any kind of a design in Power Platform, you must have a research, right? What kind of things the user can do and what errors it can go. So if you handle those kind of things, you are good to go. Okay. Now I'm going to something into more into the functions which we can use it. Again, it's not a very comprehensive list of functions and tools. There are more, but these are the common functions which I use for my customers, right? So it's very useful for real life. The first one is empty. Example, if a user has putting a data but is not working, so in our Power Apps, whether it's Dataverse or SharePoint, we should check, okay, whether this data is actually be inserted properly into Dataverse. So it will give me some error handling on the app itself, not a Dataverse, on the app itself. And the is empty will give you some kind of a true false. So example will be if my table, example of my table is have data, so it will giving a false, which means I have some data inside my SharePoint. Now, if I have no data there, then I have to tell my end user, okay, there is no data. Please enter your form. So at least we have a data consistency across your data sources, irrespective whether it's SharePoint or Dataworks. Okay. Second function is about is blank. Okay. Again, don't worry. I will show in my demos so that you can get the idea. Is blank is means I have to check if the value exists. So example is if I use is blank, it will giving and false because it's a value which is Power Apps. However, if my Dataverse have or SharePoint have some value which is blank, then I have to tell my end user, okay, this value doesn't exist, please fill in. Right? Again, you have seen in a lot of applications like C# or all other banking applications, you have to submit something, then it will actually submit. One thing which I want to share with you that a lot of end users know, I mean the developers, that now this is my SharePoint. Okay, so I have a list called as awesome public service, right? One of the food service I'm working. So in in Power Apps, we have something called as a table. Table means your entire data source. Maybe you have 50 rows or 1,000 rows will be you are actually fetching all the things from the table, right? So there's your table you are fetching, right? Second option is called as record. So I'm fetching a record. Think a row in SQL Server. I'm fetching a record. So I can have my title is Indian. I can go for my customer, which is RO, and a status called as rejected. So this is called as record in Power Apps. Then we have a column. We can filter by columns. So my customer name can have RO, Sandeep, Alex, John. So these are my columns. And the fourth is your specific value I'm looking for. So these are things which we can use in your Power Apps. I have got a lot of issues when I don't know whether it's a table, whether it's a record, a column. So at least you get an idea that what kind of data you're filtering. Are you getting the entire table? Are you getting just a record, a single row, or fetching a single column? So this will be very useful when I show in my demos. Okay. My slide is not moving. Okay. Then the third function which I want to show you is again is experimental is there for last 1.5 years actually. But I use it not very regularly, but I use it for my POCs. Okay, and it's very useful. Okay, so here I check if there have any error. If any error, I will do something. I show to my user. You have an error. If there's no error, I just move ahead. Okay. So example, if I have an error which is 1 or 2. So if there's no error, right? This is a normal thing. So it will if error function will give me return 1 because there's no error, right? So second option is I'm looking for if divide by 0. Divide by 0. So if I divide by 0, obviously will return me an error because I'm doing something which is not possible mathematically, right? So it will give me an error showing the number 2. This is because first argument, the first one is an error. Okay, so this is a if error. The third one, again, I don't want like too much things, but if you have error, if error, and I'm using 10, 11, 20, 21, and 300, what will be the return type for me? Anyone? If we return 1, 2, what kind of it will return? It will return 1 because actually is no error here. Okay, something we work on, something called patch in my demo. What is patch? That if we want to select some rows, not all the rows, then we use patch. Okay, and here is an experimental row in Power Apps that you can use these experimental rows features which are available. Please don't use in production because they are in preview. Microsoft may remove or add functions, so your parameters may not function. So never ever do anything which is on production. You can try on the POC. Then we have another function which is not, and is not a function which can use. So these are the few functions which we can use for error handling. Okay. Then notify is one of the most useful for end users. Example, I want to show something to my to a form, and I forgot to notify that I have not put my email address. Okay, and if this is not a compulsory field, it will put into my Dataverse or SharePoint. So you have compromised your data quality. So it's best to use your notify function which is in Power Apps. I show in my demo as well. So this will be shown on the top of your banner, and then it's shown for by default is 10 seconds is shown, and then you can have around 500 characters in that. Okay, so these are the again slide will be shown to you. You can see that one. One thing that I want to just highlight that you can give this kind of arguments. If it's an error, you can show that this is a error. Maybe email part is somebody has not put the email, but is a not compulsory field into Dataverse or SharePoint. Your quality is compromised. So you have to also work on the data quality as well. So we have to not Dataverse or SharePoint, we have to handle in your Power Apps itself. Okay, then we have information, success, and warnings. There are different ways you can do it. Okay, and errors are something which is very important. I have one of the customers that they have one of the place called as Jurong East, where the internet is not a very not very stable. So for that we have to use something called as record. And if the network is not stable, then it will show it inside your Power Apps. And when you have internet connection is working, then it will submit your data. Okay, so offline capability in Power Apps is also there. Okay, so we'll use these kind of functions there inside that one. Okay, so yeah, something which I will show in my demo. Don't worry on this. Some other operators like if, logical operators, conditions, if and switch, we can use it. So these are very important error handling functions which we can use in Power Apps. Similar things are actually available in your in Power Automate as well. Not exactly, but similar. Okay. So yeah, then we work on. So now let's see. Now I don't want to work on the so many slides. Just last work on the demos. I still have a couple of minutes to show my my demos. First use case which I showed you is that you have to submit the employee information into SharePoint list, right? And I show you the list structure and the schema, right? And the user has to inform the submit data properly, right? So example, the title field is not filled in or the content information not filled in, then we have to show in our app that, okay, you have not filled in this information, please submit, and then it will go to your Dataverse. So user information should be inside handled by your Power Apps, not by data source. I've seen many customers that they just do everything on the Dataverse or SharePoint. Should be handled by your Power Apps. All the error handling. You can do some things on your Power Automate and all, but I prefer to do everything using Power Apps in terms of the UI design. Okay. We never show any runtime error, which I showed you in my first instance. There's no manager and all. Nobody will able to understand what this error about. Okay. Then we use some connectors, but it's user connectors. We work on some form controls. We also work on the patch functions. Okay. So let me work on my demo now. Okay, so this is the thing which I showed to you. Okay, so here what happening is that let me go back. I just go this just think it's a published app. So I put it here. I put my name, and you see it's no information is there, right? The reason being in the exchange my name I don't have any manager. Okay, so how to solve it? I can do by going to change my manager, put any person, and maybe I put Alex, and it will solve the issue. But not all the organization use this thing, right? So I've seen many customers that they don't have the reporting structures and all. So for that, you have to handle in Power Apps itself, right? So it takes some time to load up the manager, right? So let me check again. So my manager is Alex or not? Is that okay? So this is the thing which we do, right? And this is my structure. This is my schema. I have a title. I have my office location. Office location could be Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. Some content information and my manager. I have not put the manager here. This. Okay. So what I have to do is I go to my this particular error handling thing. So I create a new app. Let me give you an just how it works. Okay. So I make it AOS Power Apps demo. So it's a plain app. I have no things I have done so far. I just make a label. I just set the label so we can know that what app we are working on. So this is AMP information. Okay, and then I just make it a bigger, just like a Word and Excel. We can just make it bigger. I make it 25 here, and then I make it a fill maybe to this. Okay, this is the thing which went. Now I have a habit of putting the naming conventions. Power Apps, if you have multiple users again, and from the real life scenarios, I work with many developers. So if I do put some any kind of labels which doesn't make any sense, my other developer have no idea. So always try to use the meaningful names. So I put a header and I put a screen called as employee information. Okay, right. So what I will do, I just create a form here. Okay, and I'm going to connect to my Dataverse. Okay, so to my SharePoint, right? So I have to connect. So I go to my SharePoint. So I put SharePoint site. Okay, and the table I want to do is the employee information. That's it, right? I just get it working. Okay, and then I can fetch the information, right? So this is very simple. There's no rocket science, simple stuff we are doing, right? So I just removed my attachments. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that is the thing. Very important to always save your app, right? So I can save an app. You put it maybe I change to a different color to be different. Okay, and just change to maybe a search. Okay, and this one, and then I go save my app. Okay, so I'm doing this app. Okay, one thing which I've noticed by experience that by mistake, if I don't save it, Power Apps have a time which is around 20 minutes or something. After that, will log out. So all your hard work will be lost. So when you make any app, always save it. After that, after where you saved your thing, automatically Power Apps will save after every 2 minutes it will save your thing. So first time you always have to save your app. Second time you have to no need to worry on that. Okay, so I'm working with this. I go to preview my form. I make it form. Okay, and what I will do here is that I will make it my form to be default as default mode to be mode to new. Mode dot new. Right, so we have the things working fine, right? Yeah. Okay, so these are the things which we have to work on this, right? And what I will do next is that I will put, if I search for my name, I just put name. Okay, so there's no error here. Okay, now what I will do next is that I want to pull the manager name because I have to submit my laptop or something, right? So I drag my manager name. Okay, I put manager name and I just copy paste and put the email. Okay. Then what we have to do, I have to use something called as an Office connector, Office 365 connector. Oh, sorry, it's here. Office 365 users, right? Yeah. So I can get all the information from my hierarchy, who's the manager and all, right? So that is the thing which will be working, right? So that is a thing which will work together. Okay. What I will do next is that I have to drag the label here and do copy paste. In the text, because I have connector, I have a connector. So I will use called as Office 365 users because I'm using connector. I can get my manager. Okay, so I can go to managers. Okay, and then employees. So first thing I will do is I go to the preview, this thing, employee. Okay, so I'm submitting this information to this, right? And then in this, I will just select my DDL employee. Okay, and then I will select it, which means I'm selecting this particular user, and I will use his email, right? So I search for email. Okay, now you see record. What is record? Record is your entire row, right? I mentioned to you in my screenshot, right? Maybe I give you just again that here I'm finding a row, not a table. I'm looking for a record. So for my example, I just want to get the display name of my manager. So what I will do, I just click on the property. Property means the name, which is I put display name. You see, now my manager is working because I have done my homework. I have done the things, but it's not error handling. I'm just because I already put my manager here. That's why it's working, right? But many places you don't have it. So I do the same thing for my email, manager's email. So I just Office 365. I go for managers V2. I go DDS selected. Okay. And I go for something called as the email of the employee. Okay. And then we have to use property called as mail. So we have to get the email address of the manager. Okay. So this is no error handling. We are doing error handling now, right? I just want to give you that what is the use case and how to way to submit. Okay. So first thing we have to do that we have to use, if we want to error handling, many times we have to use something called as global variables. So I will use a global variable. Now I'm expecting that it's a developer thing. People know about what is the global variables, what is the context variable. So I won't go in depth on that. I just want to show that when you use error handling, you have to use some variables. So in my example, I use something called as set, which is a global variable. I call as a G, which is a global. Then you have put the employee information. And then I use a function called as a default. Default is a patch through which you can store all your information into your SharePoint list, right? So I'm using a defaults. And then what is the data, my SharePoint data source, which is employee information. This is my employee information, which is storing in my in SharePoint list. Okay, so that is the thing which we are doing. I just put it here, and then I click on semicolon. Okay, you can format. I always format it is easier because my developers also find that easier to format. And second thing, we have to see whether if manager doesn't exist, how handle it. So in my example, I just use manager, G manager, and then I put a blank. If a user is not there, put blank, and then I put a semicolon. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just putting some variables on my start of my app. So I have what I'm doing is when the app is loaded, it's already showing the employee information directly from SharePoint, and also loading if the manager exists or not. Right. So this is the what we are doing. Okay. Second thing we have to do is that I have to check if the user is, because I have multiple users. So I have to do something called as on change. So I'll be doing something called on change on my this particular. Yeah, I just have a more real space. So I have using called as on change. In this on change is false. Okay, so I put it a comment here. Okay, in this particular user, I will see whether the user exists or not. Okay, so what I will do, let's put set as a message, which is a G message. Then no manager found. Link directly in the app, and we are using global variables in this particular context, right? No manager for selected user. And then I will use something called as semicolon. I do formatting. Yeah. Okay. But if we again we showed if error, right? If error is actually is an experimental one. So I use if error. If I'm getting error, then I have to see if the user exists. So I will check for my DDL selected user. Oh, I use the Office 365 connector. Office 365 connector. I use managers. V2 always use the higher version, not a manager, because V2 is a most advanced, more stable function which PowerApps is using for now. So I use DDL selected. So what I'm doing, if the user doesn't exist, I show this message. If a user exists, then I have to find whether his email is there or not. So I use selected employee selected. And then I use something called as email, right? Okay. Okay. So this is the thing which I'm doing. Okay. So that's the thing I'm doing. Now, if the user have no issue, right? No issue. If an issue happens, which means there's no manager, then I have to notify. Again, I mentioned about notify. Always try to use notification for the end users that you are actually have a error. Or not error, the user doesn't exist in your organization. So I will use something called as a notify. I just make it easy. Notify. Okay, and then I use another function called as set. I use the set function. Okay, so we have assigned the user. So no user assigned. Okay, and then if the manager exists, then we display the username. If manager exists, then we are good to go. So you see there's no error now. Again, try to use formatting, is give you better clarity here. Okay, so I just want to show you what happening. Just recap. If the user, if error happens because there's no email, so we have to notify. That's a message that no user selected because there's no organization chart there. Okay, we set this manager. If the user exists, then we put the display name. That is a function which we are using, if error. So I'm showing you two functions. I shown about the set variables. Secondly is a if error and notify, right? So this way we can just handle it. Okay, so you see now, anyways, because I've handled it, so there won't be any error. I'll put it here. So immediately, now we have a foolproof. There's no error on my use case, right? So this is the way you can do it. Okay, so that is the thing which we can do. Okay, next use scenario which I want to share with you is about if we have submit information, right? So in my scenario, what I will do. So are you clear on that? Always use variables, global variables, and use and use it so much easier for your end users to see. If any error happens, it's very difficult for end users because end users have no idea how it works. Mostly all the apps are publish tabbed, right? When you publish, right, it can be used by all the users. So in my example, I'm just create my second use case, and maybe I'd put Summit, rename it to Summit. Okay. So that's okay. I just create one more thing. Now I have to submit this information to my SharePoint list, right? Now we did the error handling. Beautiful, everything is working fine. Now I want to submit this information, right? So a lot of things we can do here. I can submit this information. So in this way, I will go and I want to submit this information. So how you can submit? If people know about InfoPath forms, we have different functions and all, but in Power Apps it's very, very simple, right? So there is a form function, but it's called as a submit form, right? So I click on the submit form. Okay, and I could call as a form and this. Okay, so what I'm doing, I just want to submit this form. Okay, and this and then you can actually modify the error message. Let me go and submit first. Okay, so I put in call this today is 16 October, and my office location is maybe in Singapore, and my contact is this 1 2 3, and this is a manager. I submit. Okay, again we'll work on this. I want to see whether data is pushed or not. You see, data is pushed. Very, very simple, right? Okay, but I want to it doesn't matter what I have to see my better user experience, right? So what I want to do at this, I want to I can have a if you click on, maybe I just maximize. Use it. You have something called as a parent error, so you can modify it. You can modify that if you give in. So if I submit here, maybe I go back. Okay, I just if it won't go anywhere, I just want to that. Okay, so we can have this particular message. If there's no error, we can customize it. We can get that the title is required because of this. So we can change the customization. Very important in our use case. Very important to customize your messages. Okay. Okay. Second thing is the form also have different properties, right? So we have properties called as on success, and on failure. So let me use these properties. Very, very important for a better user experience. So I use something called as on success, on failure. Maybe I put something called as success. Right? Success is very important to I put on success. Okay, because it's false, but I have to notify, because no way, because I showed you in my my demo just a few seconds back. User doesn't know if the data is saved into my Dataverse or my Power Apps SharePoint, right? So we can actually notify the user, and then told, okay, user is added. Yay. Okay, so that is the thing we can do, right? And then it's just a normal strings, and then we can have a different kind of notifications. Type you can put error, information, or success, but this is success because we are submitting a new record into a SharePoint list, right? So I go here, I just do it again. Okay, yeah, one value required. I did this. Okay, so title is required. Okay, so I just put a title. I put title as compulsory. Okay, so this way we can actually able to do the error handling. This is something which is like we can do submitting the data, right? So this is the way we can do it, right? This is the error handling part I'm talking about. But what happened if there was it is a failure? Is a failure, then we have to show that this particular our forms, right? This is our form. We have success. We have to also show the failure. You should tell the user that this particular field maybe some fields are not filled. Okay, so this way you can able to do the things there. Okay, I just save it. I just save it back. On success is again best practices, because if you work in different organizations, it will take some multiple people. So I put on success property, save it, I go back. Okay, I'm not published yet. I have to do something else. I just close my app now. Right, I go back here. Where is my Power Apps? So if you lost, go to your office.com. Go to your Power Apps portal, right? And then you can find your app. This is the one which we just did it, right? Okay, so again, because when you again, it's something for your information. When you do any new connector, each user has to accept this thing, that you are using a new connector. It happens to many organizations. Sir. So you see the error handling. I'm not the proper handling. I just want to show you that if I use it, I put my name, it will work then. My name, it will work, and then I put here, I put it here, submit. You see, it's required, right? This is the thing which we are doing. If I put content information, it will work also. So you have to always notify what the users. I put something, a test, submit. Then I will see in my data words, the new record is there. Right? Okay. Another thing which I have seen many customers, that rather than going to the, I just close this app first. Okay, I just close my app, and then again, I have seen one of the few of the customers that is very frustrating, that if you have around 5 to 6 required fields, you have 5 to 6 required fields, and then user have to fill in all the information. So what the best practices which I have seen from different other MVPs and other users, that is best to disable your the submit function. If all your you have 5 to 6 fields, then you disable it. So I click here, and I use a property called as a display mode. Right? And what I want to do, I just put edit, because this is a default. What I want to do is again, I using a if statement. If my form for my form name, again, always use the proper naming conventions. My form is valid, which means there's no error if there's no error in your form, which means your compulsory fields are filled in. Okay, so I put valid. Okay, if all the users, now in my scenario I have only one field, it will work, right? But if you have a office location also compulsory, this is also compulsory, then this will be disabled, right? So I use something called as a disabled, and I use something called as added, because if my form is valid, it should work, because this is my title field is filled in. Or if it's not done, it's not there, then I have to disable my form. Now you see it's disabled. Why? Because I have not filled in my title field. If I can do the similar, if I use a content also as compulsory, it will also do. So I mean, I give you the scenario, test 1, 2, 3, it will work, right? And I put my username. Okay, my manager name, and then I could put a location, I put this thing, submit, it will go back to my SharePoint. Okay, so this is a few of the techniques through we can do a summation in this thing. I have many customers, they like disabled way, because if your form is very long, I have one of the customers have a 5 screens. So it's very difficult for the end user whether which field has to be enabled, disabled. So it depends on your use case, but something which we can work on that. Okay, so that is the thing. Again, depends on the business case. Okay, now I will do something slightly more complex, I will say, but it's very useful for your use case, right? So I just copy paste, I duplicate the scenario. I duplicate, right? And I make it called as patch. Name it as patch. How many people know about patch? What is patch? I use multiple times. Every time all my customers they use the patch. Okay. So I also disabled property. I just disabled because we are doing something else here. Display mode for my placement form. My display mode. It is okay. That's okay. That is good enough. Okay. So we are not using this one. So I'm not using this summit. I just putting a commented. I just comment this one. Okay. And I will go for something for my form. For my, where is my display mode? Okay, this end screen. Okay, so this way we can just submit, and depends on the features and all. Okay, and here what I have done so far, right? I've just putting the submit. I just rename it to patch. Okay, so if I go to my button, right, so my select button, right, I just make it disable and add it. Okay, what is the use case here? Use case is that I want to have only few properties to be filled in. Okay, so in my scenario, what I want to do is I will delete the title field. I'll delete the title field completely. Okay, and it's a compulsory field, right? And I use a patch function. Okay, so where is my patch function? So I use on select. Okay, so how you use a patch function? You have to click on something called as the data verse, your data source, right? It could be a data verse, could be a SharePoint, right? So we know that by default, our Power Apps is helping us telling my data source, right? So I'm putting my data source, which is the employee information. I use a defaults. Defaults means that all my rows will be selected. Okay, and then I go and then I click on other properties. So one thing, I just put it a simple thing. This is something employee information, my contact information. I make it DXC contacts, and then I put office. I just would always try to rename your text fields when your forms. Okay, so put text fields also location. Okay, so I'm using patch function. What I want to do, I want to run the thing which I did for the submit form, right? So what I will do, I just want to go and just put something called as here. So in patch function, you have to use square brackets and then use the fields. So it's fetching all the fields in my SharePoint list, right? You can see that all the information created. So I can go for employee information, right? And then I go for the DDL selected information. Okay, and then I sorry. Okay, and then you see there's no error here, right? So I can just do formatting here, no issue. Okay, so I click here. I put the office location, this thing, and I put my name, or put anything, any person name. I click on the patch. Okay, for the end user, they think that is working, but this data is not shown here because the data field is compulsory, right? So that is thing we have to work very, very cautiously. That what we are working on the on your Power Apps, you have to manage your functions properly. You see, I'm getting error. What error I'm getting? You see, title field is required, right? So when you, although patch is very, very powerful function, right? With great power come with great responsibility. You have to handle it very well. Okay. So what I will do, I'll just use the something called as I use other fields as well. I use title. I use in my fields, I used title. Okay, I put a function called now. So it is compulsory, right? It's now, and then it's okay. Then I can select for other fields. Okay. Function. So now it won't throw any error for me, right? If I go here, I just put 1, 2, 3. I put the console 1, 2, 3. I put my name, patch. No error, right? And it will submit to my data. So show in my SharePoint list. You see, it's working fine. Okay, but this is also a not best practice. Best practice is because the patch always may have some errors in your data words or your SharePoint. So always patch should be used with something called as a context variables. Okay, so with a short of time, let me show you what I already prepared for you guys, because I know that it may overshoot. So I have already done something for to save time. That in my app, which I have already created, I'm using something called error handling, and I'm using a context variable, so that even if error happens, it doesn't compromise your data source, right? So in my example, in my on select here, so I'm using something called as a variable. I'm using a context variable, and I want to catch if any error happens. So because it happens that maybe your internet is not working, so patch will fail for that, obviously, right? So we have to catch if any error happens in this way, and then what we will do, if any happened, we should notify to error that if any error, it will show to my users. Okay, this error happens. Maybe internet was there, not there, or some issue with your data source. You're not filled in. Example, in my I not put the filled in, so it will show my error. Or if it works fine, then able to submit. So always try to use patch with context variables. I have seen so many customers that they never use patch and they never have a lot of issues with that. Okay. And before I leave, I just want to give you my best practices, which I've seen from many customers. Always try to ensure your data consistency, irrespective whether it's SQL Server, your SharePoint, or any. I'm working on Dataverse many times, so data should be always correct. Your Power Apps should be handled it. Your data should be all correct. Always use your on success and all failure properties all the time. I've seen many customers don't use it. Use display property I showed you. Try to use your customized messages, and always use patch with your context variable. It's so important. In your real life, you will have always some issue with the patch. Try to use context variables with error functions. So this is the things I still have for 1 minute to questions. Yeah.
There are two questions on the chat window.
Yeah. So what is the difference between the comparison with the SharePoint list with list or Power Apps? It's just the user interface. I can use Power Apps using my Excel. I can use for SharePoint, Dataverse, or SQL Server. So I can use the same kind of methodology for Azure SQL or for my Dataverse, irrespective. Advantage of the SQL Server and SharePoint in Power Apps. Very good question. Again, I have to 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I have more time. I can. Okay. So SQL Server is a relational database. SQL Server is a relational database. SharePoint list is not. And you can have only 8 lookups in SharePoint. More than you can't do it. So either you use Dataverse, which is a really relational database, or you use your Azure SQL database. So I have a lot of customers because of the limitation of SharePoint list and the very complex systems they're using. So they mostly go for Dataverse or use the SQL database for that. Error handling can be done by any particular systems, right? So that's the thing. Second one is how to bypass the consent of the connection with the Power App. You have to consent it, because again I showed you that in your Office 365, for example, when you get your new iPhone, right, you have to consent that you are using your location, right? So you have to consent that you are, because it's entire organization will be using it. So how to bypass the consent? I have actually I have no idea, but what I've seen so far that you have to do the thing. I'll check with you on that. Who's the user? I'll check on the bypass consent. But what I know so far on my experience that you have to click on the consent so that all the users can do it. Ritvik, any concept, thoughts on that? Consent to that part?
I don't think that we have can bypass, but maybe we can use conditional access. But I think the consent is part of the authentication, so I don't think that we can bypass this because of.
Yeah, irrespective, either using SQL Server, whether using this thing or not using any third-party RPA, also you have to do the consent. Otherwise, your organization doesn't know which apps are using. That so it's important. Thanks.
Unless the connector is using the service principal, I think that consent doesn't need to have, right? So if the connector has a service principal connectivity, then it will not need a consent.
Sure. So, sure. Yeah. Thanks. I overshoot by 2 minutes. Thanks everyone. Thanks to Ritvik and thanks to everyone who organized an amazing session. I will look for some other sessions. So thank you.